We have a little weather delay right now in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's because the guys from South Florida had some issues with the snow. So just at 6:40 Eastern time, under 3 minutes ago, they rolled into the locker room. So they're going to put 30 minutes up on that board, and we're going to get you out to the game as soon as we are ready to go at the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh. This is the slate of action tonight on the U. We start with South Florida, Pittsburgh. Again, you see that tip scheduled for 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to be a little late getting out to see the #1 team in the land. After that, we follow up with Colorado and Missouri. Both games coming up right here on ESPNU. Levance Fields leading the #1 team in the nation. The Pittsburgh Panthers about to play their second game ever, ranked #1. That's coming up against USF. And again, we're having a little weather delay right now in Pittsburgh. It's snowing. South Florida, not really used to that, so they got to the Peterson Event Center a little late. We were going to get you out to the game for good coming up at 7:20. But time now to talk about this matchup. South Florida does not have a great history, especially going on the road in Big East play. They have 2 wins all time in games such as that. Now they're going up against the #1 team in the nation, Pittsburgh. They're going to find out, presumably, what makes Pitt #1. In your mind, what stands out about the Panthers making them the top team?
Well, one thing you respect about the Panthers is they don't deviate from the game plan. Yes, South Florida is not a threat like UConn is, like Syracuse is, but you look at Pittsburgh and they'll come out, they'll pass the ball around, they'll share the basketball. They're key guys. Levance Fields will get high percentage shots for his teammates. DeJuan Blair, who likes contact, is going to be himself down low. And Sam Young, now that's my pick, Herring Goody, that's my pick. I know Gody's rolling, but he's my pick for Player of the Year in the Big East.
How about DeJuan Blair, his teammate, coming off a monster performance against St. John's?
Well, again, they don't deviate. They don't change. You won't see DeJuan Blair shooting 3-pointers. They're going to be aggressive, trying to get turnovers from steals to layups. They're not flashy. They share the basketball. They're committed to the defensive end. Jamie Dixon is a fabulous coach, LG.
And what Jamie Dixon does is get his team ready to start the season off on the right foot. They're going for their third 16-0 start in program history. They had one of those back in Jamie Dixon's first season with Pittsburgh when they went 18-0 to start the season. This time around, they're getting production from my guy on Pittsburgh.
Why didn't he make the all-haircut team the other day? Why didn't he make the all-haircut team?
Maybe next week on Inside the Polls. Adrian, I need one word to describe Jody Meeks last night against Tennessee.
Like the video game back in the day, heat check. It was a heat check.
There's a hyphen between heat and check.
Well, he was hot.
Okay, well, there you go, hot. 54 points to be exact against the Volunteers. That broke a school record set by the great Dan Issel. Third most points in a game in the last 10 years of D1 basketball. And you look what happened on Tuesday. There were teams out there that scored fewer than 54, the mark that Meeks put up just by himself. Evansville with 47 points. They could have used a guy like Jody Meeks doing that damage also from the three-point range. He hits a new school record, 10 three-pointers, breaking a record he set in December of 9. But how can you describe something like Jody Meeks? It's not like the NBA where they play forever and we see these 50-point games. You don't see this too often. How do you do it?
Well, you know what? He took good shots. He was 15 out of 22. And then when he got fouled 14 times, he made everything. So from the field, he shot well over 50%. And at the free throw line, he was 100%. A night to remember, plus they got the win. Early in the season, he looked erratic. He looked like he was searching for points. But he put it together, and it was a masterpiece.
Georgia is up next for Kentucky. Any words of wisdom for the Bulldogs as they get ready to set a pretty hot team and the hottest player in the nation?
Well, you got to treat him like Stephen Curry. You got to double and triple team him. You've got to try to take him away, limit his touches, and don't let him get hot. Plus, if you're fouling him, he's hitting his free throws. He takes a load off of Patrick Patterson down low in the young backcourt for Kentucky.
And remember, you just take a look at the latest ESPN USA Today coaches poll. You can look up and down, but you're not going to find an SEC team in the top 25. This is the first time since ESPN became affiliated with this coaches poll that one of those major conferences out there has not had a team in the top 25. So perhaps Kentucky, with a win like this and more performances like that from Jody Meeks, can work his way up. But the team at the top of that, #1 Pittsburgh, they are getting ready for South Florida. For an update, we go back out to Pittsburgh.
Tonight's college basketball game is presented in high definition. Tonight, it'll be the 124th sold-out crowd at Petersen Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You just saw the snow falling outside. The #1 team in the land, they're ready to go, but they need an opponent to show up. Stan Heath in South Florida, they showed up at about 6:40. The reason why, the snow outside. We also need officials. We finally got them as well. Basketball is next. The University of South Florida just took to the court here in Pittsburgh to take on the #1 team in the land. Snow in trying to get here made it very, very tough. So we have a delay in our ball game tonight. And we're about 20 minutes away from the opening tip. And along with Mike Kelly, the former Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten, I'm Dan McLaughlin. What a unique situation we have here tonight. South Florida just got here, so they're warming up. The Big East made a decision to put 30 minutes on the clock when they arrived on the court. So they have done that. They've been warming up for about 10 minutes. But on the other side, you look at the #1 team in the land, and the Panthers, boy, they've been warming up for a while.
Yeah, this is incredible. I've never been a part of anything like this. You know, the team, one team, South Florida, having trouble getting here. The refs having trouble getting here. And it will be interesting to see which team starts fast or slow. South Florida, obviously, with an abbreviated pregame. But as you mentioned, Pittsburgh has been out here for about 60 minutes warming up. Their legs may be a little tired by the end of this game.
Yeah, Mike, everybody talks about Pittsburgh's great defense, but really when you break down the numbers so far for Jamie Dixon in this undefeated season thus far, it's been their offense really leading the way.
Yeah, I think you can call it the myth of Pittsburgh basketball. Everybody wants to talk about how great their defense is, but look at these offensive numbers. They are the most efficient offensive team in the Big East, and they do it because of a few different things. One is offensive rebounding. They rebound almost 50% of their misses, and then low turnovers, only 12 turnovers per game. And then I'll say this, I think they are one of the best screening teams in the Big East. They really put bodies on people.
Well, South Florida, Stan Heath, we talked to him at the shoot-around today. He said, hey, we're taking on the #1 team in the land. Guys, let's just have some fun.
Absolutely. I thought he had a great attitude about it. You know, he told his guys, we're going to go out and play a lot of top 25 teams. We've just got to embrace that. We've got a chance to do something special today.
Should be a lot of fun. High definition here on ESPNU. And Wednesday night hoops, the #1 team in the land, the Panthers of Pittsburgh, playing host to South Florida. We send it back to the studio. Basketball, I promise you, is coming up.
Dan, we believe you. And at 7:20, we're going to get back out to Pittsburgh for this game coming up with the #1 team in the nation taking on South Florida. We heard some of the guys talking about maybe it's an advantage for one team or the other. How much of a factor does this when it's time to tip it off? The fact that one team has been there and the other team is a late arrival.
Well, you know what? If there was a boxing analogy, you heard the coach say, we've got a puncher's chance. We're not expected to go against the heavyweights, but we're going to throw our best blow. And what you do, you put the ball in Jones' hands. They're scoring shooting guard. He's pretty good. And Gus Gilchrist down low, a freshman, he plays pretty well, but the strength of the team is all about Pittsburgh and what they do consistently, high percentage shots, low turnovers.
And when you consider how good they are when they are playing at home, especially at the Petersen, it's going to be a tough task, I think, to say the least, for South Florida. Getting off the bus, rolling in, 30 minutes to warm up. They better get after it pretty quickly because that is exactly what they have to do. About to face the #1 team in the nation. For those folks just tuning in right now, expecting to see the #1 team in the nation, we're going to get you out to that game as soon as possible. It's just there's a lot of snow right now in Pittsburgh, and the boys from South Florida had some issues getting to the Petersen Event Center on time, so they are now at that arena. And again, we're going to get out there in about 12 minutes time. We will be going out to Pittsburgh. So we also want to talk more about the Pittsburgh Panthers. They are the #1 team in the nation, and you have to compare them against Duke, the #2 team in the nation. When you look at the offensive numbers, the edge in points per game goes to Duke, but in your mind, does that mean Duke is the better offensive team?
Well, you know what's interesting, LG? It's on paper, yes, they look close, 78 points, 81, 47%, but two different styles. Pittsburgh is physical. They'll bang you, they'll grind you out, and they can play an up-tempo game. Duke has to be extremely aggressive, trying to create turnovers. You saw that 9 steals earlier. It's a different style, almost a West Coast, East Coast kind of.
Right, so Pittsburgh #1, Duke right behind at #2, and these teams led by this man's respective picks for Conference Players of the Year, Sam Young in that Big East for Pittsburgh, and also Kyle Singler for the #2 Duke Blue Devils. With talent like that, you have to devise some sort of game plan to slow down these two teams. What would you cook up if you were in charge of slowing down the #1 and the #2 teams in the nation?
Well, if it's the #1 team in Pittsburgh, first thing, you have to match their physical intensity. They're going to bump you. They're going to intimidate you. They believe they're the best team on the court. So you have to be efficient, getting high percentage shots. And defensively, you have to limit them, block out DeJuan Blair, and match his intensity, controlling the boards. For Duke, the same way you just saw how Coach Knight said, keep the floor spread. Duke likes to spread it. You have to keep penetration outside the middle, guard the penetration, and get out to the three-point shooters. It's a tall order because you have to play 40 minutes with intensity and with poise and consistency, and that's hard to do.
And you also have to keep your guys healthy, which has been a big factor for both these teams this season. Levance Fields, all sorts of injury problems one season ago. Pittsburgh, a completely different team when he's out on the court. And for the Duke Blue Devils, their big old center, Brian Zubek, last season really slowed down with an injury, but now he's healthy and he brings Duke that inside presence. What does that mean when they're out on the court and they've got guys like Kyle Singler who have the size that can step out, but now you have to contend with someone that's going to be down there manning the paint?
Now, I won't brag. I don't brag. Only to you. I only brag to you, LG. And I said if Zubek gives them 10 good minutes, they're going to be something special because all he has to do is space, eat up space, block shots, and just be a 7-1 presence. He's healthy, like you said, and like what I say, 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes, big guy, and he's been doing that thus far.
The problem is, though, you said that after I told you that. So
No, I didn't.
plagiarism, that's what we're dealing with right here on Sports Center U. And right now we are having some fun in anticipation of the game between Pittsburgh and South Florida. Tip at 7:21, delayed because of snow. Welcome back into Sports Center U. I am not Jamie Dixon, and this man right here is not DeJuan Blair. If you tuned in expecting to see the #1 team in the nation, you still are going to get the chance to do that. It's just with the snow up in Pittsburgh, the South Florida Bulls and the refs were late to arrive to the Peterson Events Center. So with that, the game has been delayed. We are going to get you out to that tip in just a couple of minutes now. But, Adrian, we're having some fun here. Extra camera time for us, never a bad thing. So let's entertain the folks at home while they're waiting for this
favorite
game.
material here.
With a little inside the numbers, we talk about the key matchup, Syracuse and Georgetown. The key number 4, as in 4 wins for Jim Boeheim to have his 31st 20-win season. He would become the all-time leader in that category. 23, the number of times Duke has beaten Georgia Tech in the last 25. Does it happen again?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen again. The guard play for Duke is special.
And 3, as in the number of times South Florida has played a top-ranked opponent. This will be number 3. Are they going to work out and get their first ever win over #1?
I don't think tonight. I think the snow gets the best of them tonight.
So you're blaming it on Mother Nature
We'll
as well?
blame it on Mother Nature and a guy named DeJuan Blair down
Yeah,
low.
he'll have a factor in that. I'd love to see the snow angels DeJuan Blair could make, but that is completely and entirely for a different show. Let's go with a little take your pick now. We're going to start with that Syracuse-Georgetown rivalry. Whenever these teams get together, it's a rivalry game. It's heated. They play very close. Will this be decided by 3 points, or you see that more or less than that margin?
Well, you think it'd be that close, but I'm going with more than 3 points. And at 5 points, what is that, a possession and a 3-point shot? I think that Renz Anuachu gives his best DeJuan Blair imitation down low because Georgetown do not have natural rebounders.
This is in Washington, D.C. With a rivalry game like this, D.C. has been a very, very good place for the Georgetown Hoyas. What kind of a factor does home field have in a game like this? Or do you think that's one thing that us guys that never played the game are overhyping a little much?
No, absolutely. The home crowd, you want to play well in front of your family and friends, and the crowd gets excited about it. There's a history there now. There's a tradition. They're going to play extremely well, but I think it's going to come down to a possession or two. Johnny Flynn is one of the best guards in the nation and can control the game. It's going to be be interesting. I think it's going to be a 5-point game.
And Johnny Flynn can dunk as well. If you don't believe me, check out the YouTube highlight against Rutgers where he makes a name of Mike Rosario for all the wrong reasons. Next game we're talking about, Wake Forest going on the road to Boston College. The Eagles have lost 2 straight games since knocking off then #1 North Carolina. 64 points for Jeff Teague for Wake Forest over the past 2 games. Does he get 20 or more against BC?
Yeah, I think he does, because there's nothing that he won't be uncomfortable with. You have to double team Johnson down low. You have to keep an eye on Chase McFarland down low, so he's able to wheel and deal out there getting high percentage shots.
Duke is getting ready to take on Georgia Tech, and again, another big win for the Yellow Jackets that you saw earlier on SportsCenter U, as Derek Favors, the #2 prospect in the nation, has committed to play for Paul Hewitt and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. How many Duke players do you see in double figures scoring against the Jackets?
Well, you see a balanced attack. They already averaged 4 in double figures. I think it's going to be an average night at the office again, with 4 getting double figures at least.
And then you got DeJuan Blair, one of the top leaders in the nation when it comes to rebounds. Is he going to have at least 12 in this game coming up against South Florida?
Absolutely. A fresh haircut. He's going to show the people that he's ready to go. He's going to be himself. Look for him to get 12-plus rebounds.
And the unbelievable thing with DeJuan Blair kind of speaks of what Pittsburgh does defensively. And the last game out against St. John's, he had 6 steals in that game. That was a career high for DeJuan Blair. We've been talking a lot about the big fella. But Levance Fields, maybe a guy that doesn't get enough credit, but he has been the man holding down the point guard position, one of the best assist to turnover ratios in the nation. In just a few minutes, you're going to see Levance Fields and the #1 team in the nation. There he is with the headband, and his Pittsburgh Panthers following their way onto the court. Forget about the snow. Hoops coming up in a bit. Welcome back into SportsCenter U. Just another quick recap of the situation we are dealing with right now. Snow up in Pittsburgh. The South Florida Bulls and the officials for tonight's game had some issues getting to the Peterson Center. They are there. That game is nearing a tip-off. We will get you out to Pittsburgh for that game as soon as we can physically do that. But let's tell the folks at home a little bit about what to expect when it's South Florida going on the road to try to get their 3rd Big East win in program history on the road. To do that, you have to take down #1 South Florida. If there's a potential weakness that you've seen so far with the #1 team in the nation, what may that be?
Well, they would be a self-check team, meaning that the only team that would slow them down right now is themselves. And I don't see that happening, LG. What happened is you saw a graph of them being so efficient on the offensive end, first in the Big East in points, rebounds, scoring margin, block shots. Everything is balanced with them on the offensive end. Gilbert Brown, you just saw there with the 3-pointer, comes off the bench. He started last year, but this is a complete team. And remember, if it wasn't for injuries last year, they would have been doing this last season.
And you mentioned balance, and that's what often has been the hot topic when we talk the Big East Conference as a whole. Monday on our show, Inside the Polls, we talked about the balance in the Big East, and you and ESPN.com senior writer Andy Katz said the Big East at the top, it was great, but then down low, teams like South Florida, Rutgers, DePaul, really struggling. Just how big is the gap talent-wise between a program like South Florida and Pittsburgh at this moment in time?
Well, you have, 16 teams in the Big East. So, yes, the last 4 teams do not have the cachet, do not have the wins that the top teams do. The top teams are very good. Pittsburgh, very good. The bottom-tier teams, South Florida, St. John's, they have struggled. What happens when you play a big power bruising team? You find out what you need and where you stand against this team. So South Florida has nothing to lose. Go out, play hard, try to compete, block out, try to get high percentage shots. But I think it won't be to any avail. Pittsburgh is too strong and too consistent.
And again, South Florida was the team that had to arrive late to this game. Again, they're from the Sunshine State. They're not used to this whole snow phenomenon. They get there late. The officials put up 30 minutes on the clock for them to not only get changed, but out on the court and get warmed up for this game. We've been talking about what this means for South Florida, but on the other side of this, you have Pittsburgh, the home team. You get that routine that you're very used to, and now all of a sudden you're taken out of that. What does this delay also mean for Pittsburgh?
Nothing at all, because to be the #1 team, you've played against teams that are nationally ranked, and you've played against teams that are teetering around lower, mid-major Division II schools. So you come out, and what you like about Pittsburgh, it's been a workmanlike performance all season long. It doesn't matter matter who they're playing, they get into their game a high percentage shots and defending the perimeter.
And at this point in time, we have 3 undefeated teams left in Division I basketball. It is Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, and the Clemson Tigers. The top 2 in that mix in action tonight, Wake Forest at Boston College. But the game coming up in about 4 seconds, Pittsburgh and South Florida finally.
Finally is right. Tonight's college basketball game is presented in high definition. The Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania are seen tonight. South Florida, the Bulls, trying to pull off an upset against undefeated and #1 in the country, the Panthers of Pitt. Mike Kelly alongside. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're delighted to have you with us. And let's take a look at our Star Watch tonight.
Dan, a little inside-outside. Dominique Jones, a great sophomore point guard for South Florida. 17 points a game, 4 assists. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. And DeJuan Blair, look at those numbers. 23 points, 5 rebounds, and one of the top steal mans in the country as a big fella.
Take a look at the starting lineups. We'll start with the Bulls. Chris Howard, Dominique Jones, outstanding player, Verdejo, Espinosa, and Ajiyi, the senior from Nigeria. Meanwhile, for #1 in the country, Fields, Dixon, Young, Biggs, and Blair. 15-0 and 3-0 so far inside the Big East. Electric atmosphere, as you might expect, for #1 in the country. The officials tonight, John Cal, William Bush, and Jim Haney. Pittsburgh in their home white uniforms. USF, dark green. Pitt controls the opening tip, and away we go.
Dan, neither of these teams real big, but both of them like to work inside. Not great three-point shooting teams, some good guards on both sides, but I expect to see a lot of post-ups and getting in the lane.
Fields kicks it out right side, 3 up and good, buried by Sam Young, their leading scorer.
How about Levance Fields? What an ability he has to see the floor and create for his teammates. Nice drive and dish.
This is Chris Howard with the basketball. Pull up from 15 right side. Bouncing around, no good. Levance Fields with it, the senior. Quickly up the floor to Blair, who's only a sophomore. Really improved his body in the offseason. Offensive board, Biggs, 5-0 Pitt. Tyrell Biggs, the senior from New York.
Straight man-to-man from Pitt.
This is Howard at the head of the key. Down to the right side, 10 on the shot clock. Jones trying to split the defenders, he couldn't. Fields with it, up the floor, leaves it with the left hand. Oh, what a finish! Contact. And Jermaine Dixon, the junior from Maryland, able to finish, and what a start for #1 in the land, up 7-0.
Stan Heath wants to get a timeout. I tell you what, right now, what we're seeing from Pitt is how they can score out of their defensive sets. Against that ball screen, we'll see Pitt do a couple different things. Sometimes they'll want to trap, other times they'll just hedge. That time it was a hedge, and Jones at the end of the shot clock tried to split it. Nice job of staying active with your hands. And then Fields. Is there anybody better in the country at running the floor? I mean, look at him pass to his teammates. He's got such great vision and a great ability to find his teammates.
There's a look at Levance Fields, the senior from Brooklyn, New York. Head coach of the USF Bulls is Stan Heath, the 43-year-old. He's in his second season as the head coach of the Bulls. Prior to USF, he led Arkansas and Kent State to the NCAA tournament. Former assistant under Tom Izzo at Michigan State. Had to burn that quick timeout.
Well, something to try to slow this down. We wondered which team would be affected more by the delayed start. Right now, obviously, South Florida off to a slow start.
In the hands of Chris Howard. Jones for USF, guarded by Fields. Again, under 10 on the shot clock. And this motion offense, trying to find an open man. Howard was bumped, no call. Down to 2 on the shot clock. Howard had it stripped away. And it's back to Pitt. Levance Fields, an All-American candidate for the Pitt Panthers quickly defensively. And there's a look at Jamie Dixon in his 6th year as head coach, 10th overall at Pitt. Currently owns a .680 winning percentage inside the Big East. How about that?
We got a chance to talk with Jamie Dixon. What a great coach he is. And we talked about how his team is known for their defense. And we've seen some great defense already. But clearly this is also an elite offensive team.
Jones got it. Verdejo. Back to Jones. Boy, how quickly do they collapse defensively. So again, if you're just joining us, a delay because of the snow here in the Pittsburgh area. It's #1 Pitt against South Florida. We're just underway. Peterson Event Center, along with Mike Kelly. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Mike, of course, the former Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten while at Wisconsin. And while you were there, you went head-to-head with a guy named Stan Heath when he was an assistant at Michigan State.
Unfortunately, too many times. We played them 4 times, including in the Final Four, and they beat us all 4. So he had my number, and whenever I see him, he seems to have a smile on his face, I think because of that.
Gilchrist gets the Bulls on the board, the freshman from Clinton, Maryland.
Well, this is a fun matchup if you like defense. We're going to see both teams play a lot of hard-nosed man-to-man defense.
7-2. Pitt, #1 in the country. Stan Heath and his club facing #1 in school history. Just the 5th time that either the men or the women have faced a #1 team in the land.
Stan Heath doing a good job at the University of South Florida. I really like what he's trying to do. Take a lot of those things that he learned from Tom Izzo at Michigan State and employ them here.
Tyrell Biggs with the 3, and he's got 5. Biggs, senior, part of the class that included Sam Young and Levance Fields. How good are those 3?
Well, Biggs isn't going to take a lot of threes, but he's actually a really good shooter at 47% from beyond the arc. And when he can step out, that creates more room for DeJuan Blair to work inside.
8-point lead for Pitt. Good lead. Gilchrist on the baseline. A ball fake. Draws contact. They let him play. Biggs defensively. Fields. Quick look. Couldn't finish on the other end.
Well, you watch Fields. He can get up and down, and he has such great vision. Always with his head up on a swivel.
And basically, he's still trying to get healthy, too.
Jamie Dixon telling us he's been injured for basically 11 months where he hasn't been at full speed.
Jones hits the 3 for USF. Dominique Jones, first in scoring for the Bulls. Better than 17 a game, and that's his 30th 3 of the season.
What a great player he is. So strong. You look at him out there, 6'4", 205, and boy, he even looks bigger. You watch him play. He's just a strong guard. Had a nice game their last time out against DePaul. 22 points on 5 of 10 from beyond the arc.
Pitt is 4 of 6 so far from the floor, now making 5 of 7. Good start here for Tyrell Biggs.
Looked like a little zone from South Florida there. Biggs finding a soft spot inside. You always got to work that high post against the zone.
Crowd has come alive, and Gilchrist, the flush, will quiet them down.
Now, Pitt defense got a bit extended that time, playing defense out at 40 feet, and that's what will happen. Create some open lanes to pass. Let's take a look at this defense from South Florida. Little 1-2-2. I'm not surprised they're going to play it. In fact, I think a lot of coaches think the best way to beat Pittsburgh is to play zone. The problem is they're such a good offensive rebounding team. When you play zone, it gives up some offensive rebounds.
Is there a consistent, permanent threat outside? That's a big question with Pitt. Good start for Tyrell Biggs. He has 7. South Florida, though, would answer with a flush. #1 in the land on ESPNU.
I was getting depressed because of all the stress I was feeling at home. Had a poor credit score and the number would haunt me wherever I go. Thought I'd move to a place where my credit could stink and nobody would care. I just wish that somebody had told me that place was a Renaissance fair. FreeCreditReport.com. Tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom. Never mind, they've been singing our songs since we first showed up with our pirate hats on. If you're not into fake sword fights, pointy slippers and green wool tights, take a tip from a knight who knows. FreeCreditReport.com. Let's go!
Offer applies with enrollment in Triple Advantage.
Welcome to the Knowledge Generation Bureau.
You want to know the only NFL player to score 2 safeties in one game?
That's stats. You need a RBI or ERA or a PPG. He'll get it to you PDQ. Over there's trivia. Good man to know in a pop quiz. That lady there is mechanics. Behind her is quantum mechanics. The man with the contemplative air is philosophy. And back there are the twins, movie times and train times.
The Hudson Line leaves on the hour, every hour.
And this will be your new partner.
Hey.
Hey.
Want a grapple? It's a cross between
A grape and an apple. I know. And it's pronounced grapple. Who's your friend?
Him? He works on the imponderables.
Like the Hodge conjecture?
No, the really hard stuff, like what does a woman want?
Poor sap.
Thursday at 4, the Cliff Key National Duels, only on ESPNU.
South Florida beat DePaul in their last game 80-58. That was a rare road win for them inside the Big East. And there's their second-year head coach, Stan Heath, as we talked about. Mike, he comes from that Tom Izzo coaching tree.
Well, Tom Izzo, I have the utmost respect for Tom Izzo and what he's done at Michigan State, and it's no surprise to see these 5 guys having the success as they leave his program and take on their own. Tom Crean having a rebuilding job at Indiana, but Brian Gregory, what a great job he's done at Dayton. They have got a really good team this year. Uh-oh.
Looks like a bloody nose there for Coach Stan Heath. What a job he did at Kent State, went to the Elite Eight, and then with Arkansas went to the NCAA tournament as well. Boy, Pitt red hot to start this game.
I tell you what, when they get hot from the outside, I don't know how you stop them. I mean, the book on Pitt right now is try and force them to take three-point shots and then clean up on the defensive glass. So that's why you play zone. But if they're going to bury the three, they're almost unstoppable.
Wanamaker had that three, the sophomore from Philadelphia.
Watch Pitt work defensively. They communicate very well. Just swarm to the basketball.
Listen to this crowd, the student section right behind us and behind the goal. From the right elbow, they missed everything. Ajayi with it. They ran out of time.
Jones
never drew iron.
Yep, never drew iron. Jones didn't see it. Ball went up, hit the backboard. He thought it reset.
Pitt is now 3 of 3 from behind the arc to start this game, and they lead it 15-7. Number 1 in the country. First time ever in school history in men's basketball. Turnovers, you see it, 3-1. USF with 3 of those.
Sam Young working the inside of that zone, trying to find a soft spot. His teammates very aware of where he is.
From the baseline. That's no good. Blair rips down the rebound.
Look at him
Lowers
work.
the shoulder. That's no good. Look at that. Young the rebound, and with the left hand, he's fouled. This is what they do. They go up and get after it on the glass.
You know what's interesting, and we talked to Stan Heath about what makes Pitt so good. He said, you know, they remind me of the national championship Michigan State team that he was on. Very good at getting to the glass. Mateen Cleaves was on that team. He likened him to a Levance Fields type of player. And you watch that athleticism. I mean, how do you defend against a 6'7" player that is so active, so strong, clears space, and then Sam Young comes in behind him to get his miss?
What a great story Sam Young and his family has become. And obviously a lot of national attention on the players and this program. Sam Young, his brother Michael, is blind. He plays the piano. Had the gold medal in judo. And really a neat story. And Sam is so proud of his brother Michael, who is probably tuned in tonight and listening to the television broadcast.
Well, if you get a chance, go to ESPN.com and go to the E60. Some video highlights. They did a very nice piece on him as a wrestler last year, going to the state finals, or going to the state tournament, actually, as a wrestler. And it's just a very neat piece.
Wanamaker, nice leave. Heading to the line, Gary McGee, the 6'10" sophomore. And his best game last year was against USF. For up-to-the-minute news for everything that is college sports, log on to ESPNU.com. If you don't have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com. Type in your zip code at the top of the page, or call your local cable operator or satellite provider. If there is also a knock, partner, on Pittsburgh, and really on both these teams, free throw shooting. Pitt, as a team, only shooting 63%.
Yeah, well said. That was a problem everybody knows about for Memphis last year. It came back to bite them in the tournament, and certainly that's something they're working on. DeJuan Blair, as much as he gets to the line, not a great free throw shooter. 60%, not terrible, but certainly if he could be up in the 70s. Look at what Luke Herring, what he does for Notre Dame. He gets the line a ton, and he makes a ton of them too.
Missed them both. The rebound by Jones.
Pitt stays man-to-man. They will fight through screens.
3 up as McGee couldn't fight through that long enough, and a 3 by Augustus Gilchrist. Cuts a lead to 6. Little floater, Brown. Tough shot. McGee, the rebound inside. With the right hand, he's fouled and counted. Chance set a three-point play.
Dan, this USF team last year had a very good post player, Kentrell Gransberry. He was a walking double-double. They lost him to graduation, and now you see what's happened is they are just thin down low. Augustus Gilchrist certainly coming on as a player. He just has played the last 9 games for them, but he's still kind of hitting his stride, and right now, Pitt is just having their way with South Florida inside.
McGee has missed 3 free throws. Lead at 8 for Pitt.
USF's got to find a way to get in Jones' hands, get him some looks.
This is Howard backing in field, strip. Howard trying to get it back. Stepped on the baseline at Fields. It'll stay with the Bulls. 21 on the shot clock, 12:32 to play first half.
Well, the problem is it's easy to say you got to find shots for Jones, but when you've got him being hounded by defenders, you don't want to force anything up, and then it just becomes difficult to find an open look.
Under 15 on the shot clock. Verdejo, 5 on the shot clock. Jones with it. Lets it fly, hits the 3 and beats the clock.
There you go. I mean, that's about what it takes right now. Pitt playing such great defense. You got to use all 35 and then hit a pull-up jumper and somebody in your face.
5-point lead for #1 Pitt.
USF back man-to-man.
It's the second three-pointer for Jones.
Great ball fake.
Young lost it on the way up. It'll stay, though, with Pitt. 13 on the shot clock. 3 new bodies coming in for Pitt when we come back. Jones beat the shot clock. And it's a good one on ESPNU.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out here today. After having a long discussion with friends and family, I've decided to follow my first love.
You look like you're about to show off your team pride by stapling Reggie Bush to your wall.
Watch out.
Instead, get a Fathead. Show off your passion the easy way. Pick up a Fathead of your favorite hero at fathead.com.
Now, get huge biceps and massive shoulders. Get the V-cut, a small-looking waist, and a big upper body with the Perfect Pull-Up. From the U.S. Navy SEAL inventor of the Perfect Push-Up, the Perfect Pull-Up changes the pull-up bar into a complete upper body machine with 2 design advances. The Perfect Pull-Up's handles rotate with the natural movement of your arms and shoulders. And the Perfect Pull-Up is the first pull-up bar with an adjustable swing arm. Start with a bicep-burning standing row. Rip your shoulders and back with an Australia pull-up. Electrify your arms and upper body with rotational pull-ups. It's 3 exercises in 1 invention. It changes the game and gets you results. So here's the deal. Try the Perfect Pull-Up for 30 days for only the cost of shipping and handling. You pay only $14.95. When you order, you'll receive the Perfect Pull-Up adjustable bar and 2 rotating handles. You'll also receive the Navy SEAL-inspired workout chart. And when you call, ask about the Perfect Pull-Up ab straps for an off-the-floor ab workout the way the pros do it. Get ripped by the Perfect Pull-Up.
#1 Pittsburgh, 18, South Florida 13. Here on ESPNU, 11:44 to go in our first half. 32% of the teams in the top 25 come from the Big East, and we had a chance to visit with Jamie Dixon, the head coach of Pitt. He said this might be historically one of the greatest conferences ever as far as this particular season. They, of course, are #1, and just falling out of that top 25 was West Virginia.
It's the depth that I think really gets you when you look at this conference. You see all these names, and I think the one name I want to look at is Louisville. You look at them at #20. This was a top 5 team coming into the
#2 at one point.
Yeah, #2 at one point. With all the talent they have, and Terrence Williams and Earl Clark, Samardo Samuels down low. I mean, they just blow you away with the talent, and they're not hitting their stride just yet. I mean, it's scary to think that that's a team, as they continue to play well, will only rise up in those standings.
Jones picks up the miss for USF. He has 3 rebounds to go along with his 2 threes.
Dan, we talked about offensive rebounding. Before that shot, Pitt had missed 5 shots and had 4 offensive rebounds.
And a foul underneath. That'll go against Pitt. Biggs whistled for the foul. Off the inbound, nicely done. Gilchrist, good start for him.
Absolutely. Gilchrist, a nice player. I mean, you talk to the coaches and they talk about his talent. And in the beginning, when he first came on just 9 games ago, he had a little bit of a deer in the headlights look, and now he's finally starting to shed that and really learn to play. I mean, this is his first time playing college basketball.
Gilchrist with 9 for USF, and Jones has 6. And that's your scoring. And a travel against Ashton Gibbs, #1 in the country. And we are at the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, along with Mike Kelly, the former outstanding defensive player for Wisconsin. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Here on ESPNU, only the 2nd turnover for Pitt in the ball game tonight. There's a look at Stan Heath. Has to be very pleased with this start, only down by 3.
Well, they're hanging in there. They're getting some good shots. You talked about Augustus Gilchrist knocking down some looks, and that's what it's going to take. South Florida's going to have to hit some shots if they want to get in this game.
Here's Gilchrist, open look, ties it up.
There you go. I mean, I tell you what, we talked about this. Nobody gave Boston College a chance against North Carolina. North Carolina's got all the talent in the world, but certainly on any given night, USF stays hot, plays some good defense. What they've got to do, though, is keep Pitt off the offensive glass.
Double team down low. Can't find any space, and then picking up the loose basketball for an easy 2 is Tyrell Biggs. He's off to a good start as well. Gilchrist falling out of bounds, and it's back to Pitt. I'm not sure we're going to see anything like Jody Meeks, what he did last night.
Wow, was that
How about
incredible?
that? 54 last night for Kentucky.
You know, you saw it whenever you see people and they're in a zone like that. I mean, you just stay glued to the TV. It was amazing to watch. And I thought, you know, you and I talked about what was neat about his performance after the game, and they talked to him about how special it was to score 54 points. And he said, no, this game was special because we won. And I had never won here. And I thought that was neat. Some very good perspective from a young man.
A little surprising. How about the SEC? No team in the top 25 right now.
Well, there will be. Right now, nobody there, but certainly Kentucky can play. Tennessee's got to learn to play a little better defense, and they'll be there. And Arkansas, some big wins already this season.
Boy, if you're any opponent of Pittsburgh, you've got to box out. They are so aggressive on the glass.
When we saw USF try the zone, they had to come out of it because they couldn't keep them off the glass.
Inside it goes.
Great double team down low. Pitt will bring double teams when he get in the low block.
That's Rivas, who just checked in the game. Rivas feeding it to Jones. Stays with the Bulls with 12 on the shot clock. So top 25, certainly the Big East is well represented, but the ACC with 4, Big Ten, little surprising there with 4, Big 12 with 3, and then the Pac-10 with 3. SEC, a donut.
That's amazing. You look at the Big East, 8 teams, and it's incredible to think as you play in this conference, how many teams you're going to play in the top 25.
Jones, tough shot. Altered, good job defensively by Wanamaker. And just over 9 minutes to go. Fields will let it fly. No. Jones a rebound. Now they'll go the other way again. Here's Fields.
There's a mismatch.
Yep. Rivas trying to guard him. Will go inside. And a foul on Espinoza, the freshman from North Carolina.
Tell you what, as I watched Levance Fields, I said this to you yesterday, I think he's got a Joe Montana factor. I mean, I think what he brings to the court goes beyond the statistics. Everybody knows how great he is, assist to turnover ratio. He can obviously score, but I think he's just a born leader. And you look at what they've done when he's in the game and when he's out of the game, and when he doesn't start, they are better with him on the floor.
He must have been listening. He knew as he buries the 3. Fields out of Brooklyn, New York. Jamie Dixon has gone into New York City and really got some good players.
Absolutely. You think of Carl Krauser before Levance Fields. Some great point guards coming out of there.
A lot of standing here for South Florida. And that drops. Chris Howard, the junior from Virginia.
Chris Howard, a nice looking point guard. He's more of a pass first point guard. That time, as you mentioned, a lot of standing. Some great defense by Pitt chasing him around. He was forced to make something happen.
Inside, Blair strong with it, gets it back, stays with it. DeJuan Blair, the sophomore, who is third nationally in rebounding at better than 13 a game.
You know, I almost cringe when I think about shaking his hand, because you watch him reach for that basketball. He yanks it out of midair, sometimes with just one hand, and he can just pull it down.
Freshman All-American last year from this area.
Watch the team defense by Pittsburgh. Big men helping off the screens, then recovering quick.
3 up, head of the key. Yes. And again, it's Chris Howard.
Howard coming off a big game. 12 points, 10 assists, and no turnovers against DePaul. As I mentioned, Verdejo and Jones are their primary scorers. Howard's more of a setup man, but he can fill it up.
Fields, nice look. Yes, and a chance at a three-point play. Tyrell Biggs. What a first half he's had. As we step aside here on ESPNU.
Now, Pittsburgh's so good down low. They've got the great size, the great active players, and a nice strong move to finish.
Your home for college sports 24/7 is ESPNU. The passion.
Absolutely unbelievable.
The anticipation.
Can he do it? Can he do it?
The excitement.
Can you believe it?
Every season, every reason to watch, all year long. Tomorrow night, Matt Channing and the Huskies take on the Fightin' Blue Hens in Colonial action. Then it's a Tennessee showdown as high-scoring Lester Hudson and the Skyhawks face Tennessee Tech.
My laptop offers me the...
I got $583 from cashforgold.com. All I did was look through my drawer full of jewelry I never wear.
Turn your unwanted, broken, or mismatched jewelry into cold, hard cash, because if you're selling, cashforgold.com is buying.
I sold my old jewelry and took the vacation of a lifetime.
I had no idea my old jewelry, rings, chains, and bracelets were worth so much money.
And with gold, silver, and platinum at their highest value in decades, that means more money in your pocket. And because we own our refinery, we can cut out the middleman.
It was so easy. I called the number on TV and asked for their free refiner's return pack.
Safe and insured. I sent in my old jewelry and got more money than I could ever have imagined.
Fill the envelope with your unwanted or broken jewelry and mail it to our processing center. A safe, reliable transaction with satisfaction guaranteed.
I got $423 from cashforgold.com. Now that's a lot of gas money.
Call 1-800-376-3174.
Different players have scored for number 1 Pittsburgh as they lead at 29-23. Only 3 different players for South Florida. And how about DeJuan Blair?
You know, he's got a real knack for looking for the basketball down low. He obviously has got the size and the strength. At 6'7", 265, he can move people out. But you watch him play down low, and he gets that ball up. He misses the first shot, but the strength and the ability to go up, get it, and get back into the basket is something that he just has. It's remarkable.
Big East co-rookie of the year. The big fella, I think you can figure that one out. How about that? He dunked as an 8th grader. Also, football was in his future at one point.
Wow. What position? I wonder about that, you know.
Tackle, maybe, what? You could put him as a defensive end.
Tight end, maybe?
Yeah. DeJuan Blair at the line. That's Biggs. DeJuan Blair actually lost 20 pounds in the offseason, 5% of body fat, as he went to a camp in Phoenix and worked out with Amari Stoudemire.
I like seeing that story about him, or that line about him dunking as an 8th grader. That happened to me. A guy that went on to be my college teammate, and that was about as intimidating as you can get as an 8th grader getting dunked on.
Almost a steal, and Howard finishes. Chris Howard, who is 10th all-time in assists, not really known as a scorer, but filling it up so far here in the first half.
Yeah, throw the scouting report out the window right now. Chris Howard is looking to score, and he's doing a nice job of it.
Here's Jermaine Dixon. Might remember his brother Juan Dixon. Played for Maryland in their national championship team, and now with Washington in the NBA. 5-point lead. Again, that defense coming alive for Pitt. 3 up. No good. Ball is loose. Kept alive, and a fresh 35 for the Bulls. Verdejo, no good. Offensive board, and count it. Ajayi, senior from Nigeria.
You know, Dan, we talked with Stan Heath and we said, what's it going to take? How are you going to get this win today if you're going to get it? And he said, we actually have to do the things that Pitt does well. We've got to get on the offensive glass. We've got to take care of the basketball. And this bucket here comes off of 2 misses, but back-to-back offensive rebounds. Nice job by Ajayi of staying active on the weak side, getting that rebound and going back up with it.
It's a second foul on Tyrell Biggs. 42% free throw shooter. They shoot only 58% as a team, and he buried it.
It was pure. Nothing but net.
Well, against DePaul, they went 13 for 15 in that win from the charity stripe. They also shot 52% from the field. Big difference in why they won. Maybe being late was a good thing for South Florida.
Well, I'll be curious to see how this game finishes with Pittsburgh being out there for so long warming up. That may be when we start to see their legs get tired.
Fields on the wing.
Dominique Jones matched up against Sam Young down low. That's an interesting matchup to watch.
Here's Young at the head of the key, down to 4 on the shot clock. Young leans in. Good job defensively by South Florida. College basketball action on ESPNU continues tonight. We'll turn it over to the Big 12, Colorado and Missouri. Men's college basketball on ESPNU and ESPNU HD tonight at 9 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. Leo Lyons has been suspended by head coach Mike Anderson, so he will not play tonight. Oklahoma, Blake Griffin, if you haven't seen him, outstanding player as they are 16-1.
You know, we talk about how strong DeJuan Blair is, and I think Blake Griffin is another one of those guys that is physically intimidating. You watch him out there, and I think players get intimidated. He's so strong, so athletic, and then he can put the ball on the floor. I think that's what separates him from a lot of other big men.
And Missouri coming up later tonight. They're 13-3. And at home against a Colorado team trying to rebuild. You almost feel like, and it's crazy to say this, but a must-win situation when you have certain teams on your schedule, on paper. You have to win those games if you're going to be a bubble team that gets in.
Absolutely. I think, you know, coaches don't like talking about must-win games, especially this early in the season, but certainly there are games where you think if we don't get this one, it's going to be tough to overcome.
Yep. Mike Kelly, the former standout of Wisconsin. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Big East on ESPNU, #1 in the land. Pitt against USF, and a good one here. 2-point game. Chance to tie it up or take the lead, and a foul against Sam Young.
With South Florida, USF really having to work to get some good looks. Early on in the possession, Pittsburgh is doing such a nice job of chasing around those down screens that they're not getting any open looks. It's taking some flare screens, some dribble penetration, then kick out to get an open look.
Here's Jones.
You watch Pitt work around screens. They chase very well, and their big men are so aware they show.
Good job. Verdejo is fouled. Found the open man. Read the defense. Found the open cutter.
Sort of a roundabout screen, kind of a screen-the-screener action. Nice job by Verdejo with the slip.
Verdejo at the line, 61% free throw shooter. Key upcoming Big East games, no doubt tonight. Syracuse, the Orange, and Georgetown, who Pitt has already beaten. Then Notre Dame and Syracuse, Georgetown and Duke, Pitt, Louisville, and Marquette at Providence.
I think Pitt-Louisville is the game that I'm going to be watching. I look at that game, and I think it'll be a good test for Louisville at where they're at. Their guards are going to have to play well if they want to beat Pitt. And the one thing about Pitt, with Levance Fields, I don't think the Louisville pressure bothers them as much as it bothers other teams because they've got such a great point guard. You've got to be able to handle that. And I think when you watch Notre Dame play Louisville, at Louisville, Torrey Jackson, as good of a point guard as he was, once Andre McGee got in his face, their offense bogged down at the end of that game.
Last time we were tied up, it was 18-all. We've got a good one here in Pittsburgh. No good, and a chance for South Florida to take the lead. Almost traveled. Ball is loose. Picked up by South Florida. And over the back call. Obalaji, Ige, the senior, at 6'9". That's his third personal.
Well, that's important. Ajayi, one of those players that can body up with Blair. He's bigger, he's taller, that is, and longer. Can affect shots while staying behind a guy like DeJuan Blair.
So Eris Williams checks in, 6'9" senior out of Columbia, Maryland.
You know, I don't want to put too much emphasis on the late start and the snow outside and USF getting here late, Pitt being out there so long, but I think what we've seen so far is a USF team that's been very active. I think Stan Heath would be pleased with the energy his team has brought to the floor.
This is Young with the rebound. Following the miss, Fields swings it to the left side. Good ball movement here. Dixon penetrates, kicks it to the corner. They thought about the three. Gets it back. The lefty strokes it. Jermaine Dixon.
Well, that was all ball movement, Dan. You said it. USF came with a trap down low on the low post, and once they got it out of there, USF never was able to recover.
.15 on the shot clock and a whistle. And that's going to go against DeJuan Blair. The ball movement. And Dixon with the three. Pitt on top by 3 on ESPNU.
Some people go through life following Plan A. It's predictable, expected. But my plan is to do more. To work on my terms. To open up new perspectives. To find a competitive advantage.
Welcome to Plan B from Brother. Our inkjet all-in-ones make your biggest ideas look even bigger. It's the smarter way to work in color.
My plan is to write my success story every single day.
Make the smarter choice. Plan B from Brother.
Hi, it's pretty easy to see what draws me to Esurance. With my family, a job, and a pretty long commute, it's hard to find time to take care of things like auto insurance.
Let alone how much it can cost.
I chose Esurance because they save me money in no time.
With quote by print convenience, you can start saving in minutes.
And with hassle-free automatic payments, that's one less bill that piles up.
Get your fast free quote today.
And get animated about your auto insurance with Esurance.
With the phone company, you can get voicemail.
Hope you didn't leave yet. It's a left on Bank Street, not a right.
With Vonage, you can get voicemail as email, wherever you are. Vonage works by connecting your high-speed internet with your phone. Get Vonage and get visual voicemail. Also get unlimited calls, just $24.99 a month. Call 877-4VONAGE and get your first month free.
#1 in the country. The Pitt Panthers against South Florida, the Big East on ESPNU. Along with Mike Kelly, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 3:30 to go. The defense of Pitt has limited 14 of the first 15 opponents to under 70 points. But tonight, little different story.
You know, I don't think the story is necessarily bad defense by Pitt, but I think it's just great offense by USF. We've seen some guys hit some very difficult shots, and Augustus Gilchrist has been one of those guys. He's got a nice face-up game. He can stretch the defense, and then a play like that, that's just teammates being very aware of where he is, getting him the ball in a place where he can score. As I said, he can step out, shoot that three, and when that pulls some big fellows away, you're going to open up some lanes to the basketball, give some room for your guards to drive in the lane.
Howard gets it back off the inbound. Nicely done. Little mismatch that time off the inbound. And they went right at Levance Fields.
Yeah, they went right at Fields. Howard with an aggressive move. As soon as he got it, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. And Fields was stuck behind him, could not challenge that shot.
Fields to Brown.
Sam Young's been quiet.
Young gets it and lost it. Winds up in the hands of Jones. 3 minutes to go. South Florida chance to take the lead. If they score, it would be their first lead of the night. Nada Howard. Verdejo puts it on the floor, lets it fly for the lead, no good. Short. Fields with it. Fields up the floor to Brown. Offensive board again, kept alive by Pitt. Kept alive by Fields, and it winds up in the hands of Gilbert Brown.
There's that ball fake again.
And Young will head to the line.
Sam Young, I don't know that a player has ever been known for a ball fake, but Sam Young certainly is.
Halftime, looking ahead, number 8 Syracuse visits Georgetown. Sam Bradford decides to stay in college. Derek Favors chooses Georgia Tech. All that coming up at the half on ESPNU.
Derek Favors, the number 2 recruit in the country in the ESPNU 100, which is the top 100 ranking of the seniors around the country. Pittsburgh coming in, ESPNU 100 at the 15th ranked recruiting class, and they've got the number 18 overall player, Dante Taylor. Very tough physical player, can finish above the rim. Certainly going to be someone fun to watch next year.
35-32 with just over 2 minutes to go in our first half.
Well, credit USF. They have been patient on the offensive end. Even though good looks aren't there, they have worked the shot clock trying to get good shots and trying to get good shots and then getting fouled at the line.
Jones fouled. USF has lost 23 straight road games against the top 25. Playing well here tonight. College basketball continues with a doubleheader Thursday night here on the U. 7 Eastern. Northeastern takes on Delaware. Then at 9 Eastern, Tennessee Martin. The Skyhawks will face Tennessee Tech, the Golden Eagles. Men's college basketball on ESPNU Thursday night. Good-looking stroke of Dominique Jones.
Northeastern, a good team. We saw Providence play last week. Northeastern actually beat Providence in Providence's home opener. Keno Davis is doing a nice job with that club.
Jones having to pick up the slack for the loss of Kentrell Gransberry. No longer with USF, terrific player, and he along with Jones, those two were terrific a year ago.
Well, I think Dominique Jones knew going into this year there's going to be a lot more attention on him with Gransberry gone, and he has stepped up. Still averaging 17 points a game. One of the great young players in this conference.
Into the corner. Not a real sweet-looking rotation on that shot, but the three knocked down by the senior Young.
Sam Young has worked so hard on his outside shot. Give the kid credit. He worked and worked and worked, and now that he can get that three, it certainly opens up things on the inside.
Young double figures in 58 of his last 62 games. Averaging 19 a game, and Howard, little hesitation and a foul. And that'll go against McGee of Pitt.
Well, you saw McGee try and show that time. They call it a hedge on the ball screen rather than a trap. He just wants to hedge out. Sometimes you see big fellas, when they don't commit fully to the hedge, they end up playing a lot with their hands. And that's when they pick up the fouls, as McGee did there.
Last year, as a 7th seed in the Big East tournament, Jamie Dixon guided Pitt to the tournament championship as they won with 4 wins in 4 days. And think about this. They have been in the championship game of the Big East tournament in 7 of the last 8 years. And the last team to do what Pitt was able to do, as you see the loose ball, was Jerry McNamara. Remember what he did with Syracuse back in 06 as he guided them into the NCAA tournament.
Pitt remembers, or Pitt fans remember, they were the team that Syracuse beat in the finals that year.
And of course, the Big East tournament expanded now to 16 teams, up from 12. And Jamie Dixon, I asked him about it. He said, I like it. Let's do it.
Well, I think there are pros and cons, as he mentioned. Certainly pros and cons, but the pros far outweigh the cons. Great for each team to get to spend some time in New York City.
Shot clock at 5. Fields with it. Has to hurry up. Deep 3.
Oh,
wow! The bench fails.
The General.
Shot clock off, down to 20 seconds. 6-point lead for number 1 in the land.
Got to let Jones create with the basketball. Maybe give him a ball screen from Gilchrist.
He's guarded by Dixon. They switch. This is Young. He steps out. Trying to step through the 2 defenders. Jamie Dixon doesn't like it. The foul with 3.4 on the clock.
Boy, a little bit of a bailout there. Dominique Jones trying to split the defense. Looked like he ran into his own man, Gilchrist. He's going to get to the line. Whenever USF has been aggressive getting into the paint, they have picked up some fouls on Pitt.
So Jones will be at the line.
Stan Heath making a nice move. Going to get Gilchrist out of there for the final 3.4 and make sure he doesn't pick up a silly foul.
Jones, of course, wearing number 20. His high school number. He wore 0 last year. Had 20 or more points in 10 games. 3 30-point games as a freshman. Last to do that, Allen Iverson.
Boy, that's
how good this
that's good company to keep.
Absolutely. Substitution. Rivas, young man from the Dominican Republic, the junior, back in for defensive purposes here for USF with 3.4 to go.
Anybody that saw Memphis last night score in the last possession, you want to get it to someone on his way to the basket.
Wanamaker will get a look, lets it fly, no good. Entertaining first half. Number 1 Pitt. A challenge here tonight in the first half. A surprise, the USF Bulls. Levance Fields, the All-American candidate. He and Pitt trying to stay undefeated. It's 41-37 as we head to the studio.
Welcome into the Sports Center U halftime report. Hope you're enjoying Big East action. Syracuse not really enjoying the start in our nation's capital. Juwan Summers with 7 points already. And Georgetown sticking it to the Cuse, 37-21 with 3.5 minutes left to play in the first half. Rutgers over Cincinnati in the first half, and just underway between West Virginia and Marshall, the battle for West Virginia. And the Mountaineers leading that one 7-4. Welcome into the Sports Center U halftime report. I'm Lowell Galindo here with a 2-time All-American from the University of Maryland, Adrian Branch. Now, this is a guy right here that was calling for Pittsburgh to absolutely roll in this game you're watching over South Florida. But 4 points right now between the Bulls and the Panthers. Why is it so close?
Well, they're doing a good job. South Florida coming out nothing to lose. They're holding, they're competing, and they're matching the physical intensity of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is not uncomfortable grinding it out, hitting big shots, and there's still a second half. But good job for South Florida. They're not playing with any hesitation.
Pittsburgh has not exactly had huge halftime leads over their past couple of games. In fact, they only led by 4 on Sunday night against St. John's. Of course, went on a tear in the second half to win that game. LaShawn McCoy, he's been on a lot of tears for the Pittsburgh Panthers, but the next run he makes will be in the National Football League. That's because McCoy, after weeks of uncertainty, has decided to enlist and join that NFL draft. So now Pitt losing its top 3 rushers from last season. Leading receiver Andre Wright is a top returning rusher now for Pittsburgh. He had 34 yards last season. Boomer Sooner not saying goodbye to Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Sam Bradford. Bradford putting off the NFL, at least for one more season. Great news for Oklahoma fans, as Sam Bradford says he still thinks he can improve his draft stock. Todd McShay from Scout Scene kind of projected as the 7th best draft-eligible player for this 2009 NFL draft. More great news for Oklahoma as Jermaine Gresham, the tight end, says he's coming back. So basically all the top underclassmen for Oklahoma staying to try to win that national title. Mark Sanchez would be a key piece of USC winning the national title next season. But the Trojans quarterback is reportedly planning on skipping his senior season to enter the NFL draft. There are some reports out there right now, his father saying that he has not made that decision. We will find out tomorrow, the last day to declare for the NFL draft. A lot more basketball coming up on Sports Center U. Duke trying to defend its number 2 ranking while a showdown in the Big East lopsided. Favors is the number 2 high school player in the nation. You can see him play tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2, or next season for Georgia Tech.
It was very difficult to get it down to 3 finally. I mean, all the schools were good. They were good choices for me. I love the coaching style of the teams, but I thought about it long and hard, and I think I made the right decision.
That decision made earlier tonight on Sports Center U. This is the team he's going to be playing for. Georgia Tech and Paul Hewitt, with Tech going up against the number 2 team in the nation, Duke. You don't work harder than Zachary Peacock for a shot like that. Hard work paying off. And Tech up by 6. Gerald Henderson saying hello to Olade Aminu.
They've got one of the best front lines in the ACC. I'm surprised they hadn't won as many games yet.
Lewis Clinch in transition. How do you like that pass?
Extra pass, running the floor, big guys running the floor, getting rewarded.
And it's Peacock with the lay-in. Tech up by 8. Kyle Singler picking up for Nolan Smith and 1. It was a 13-zip Duke run. They take the lead by 3 at the half. Second half now. Gerald Henderson coming off a 20-point performance, putting this one down to make it a 3-point lead for Duke. And right now it's a 5-point lead as they lead in the second half, 38-33. The big game in the ACC people are paying attention to tonight is Wake Forest as they go on the road with their undefeated record to take on Boston College. I was saying this is a trap game. You don't believe. Why?
Well, it's got to be a character game for Wake Forest. If they want the respect that they're getting, if they want the attention that they're getting, they're good enough, they're talented enough, they have to have the character to come out and emulate the same intensity, composure, and style of play, dominating the glass and not turn it over against BC. They're not going to get it. They're not going to lay down for Wake Forest.
And Wake Forest can't look ahead because if they get through to next weekend unscathed, it will be undefeated Wake Forest taking on undefeated Clemson. In the Big Ten, Michigan State undefeated, Overage past 9, trying to make it 10 straight with a win against Penn State. That's how you do it. Darrell Summers hit the three-pointer, Sparty by 4. Michigan State now up by 5. It's Chris Allen. We call that range, Adrian.
Yeah, I like the free-flowing motion of Michigan State. And listen to this, 36-16 edge in rebounds for Michigan State. That puts Penn State in the hole.
And also a little defense leading the offense. Summers, the steal. Goran Sutan, the lay-in. And Michigan State with a 10-point lead with under 5 minutes left to play. There is Stephen Curry taking on Elon for the Davidson Wildcats, dishing to Ben Allison. You can also pass, AB.
Well, because 3 guys will be running at him, and at times, watch this play right here. It looks like a trick pony out there in the horse game. He's having a good time. McKillop gives him freedom in the offense.
He's basically playing games. 23 of Davidson's 47 points. He says, you know what, Jody Meeks, I'm coming at you. Levance Fields coming at South Florida from all different aspects of the game. 6 points, 7 assists, no turnovers for the Pittsburgh leader. Georgetown taking on its 6th ranked opponent this season. That is the largest number in Division I. Syracuse, its 1st ranked opponent in Big East play. And it's Georgetown with Chris Wright knocking down the three-pointer. Hoyas up by 6 in the nation's capital early on. But Johnny Flynn going back to Eric Devendorf. No turnovers last game for Johnny Flynn. Continues that excellent play. But how excellent is Georgetown so far?
Running the floor, contesting shots, defensive intensity. They are putting on a clinic right now.
Ball passing, the movement to Henry Sims. Throwing it down, Hoyas by 12. Then you got to step out way outside. Austin Freeman doing just that. Hoyas by 19, so it's time to have a little fun. DeJuan Summers, the steal, and he's dealing himself. Looking a little bit, just a little bit like Johnny Flynn. Even gets the technical foul for just taunting a little bit. But at this point, Georgetown simply rolling over Syracuse. What is happening with the Cuse team that was looking almost unbeatable?
Well, you know what? They run into that malaise. I'm sorry, Mom, I went against you in Georgetown. Hoya, she's got season tickets. I should have trusted that. Right now, Georgetown can do no wrong.
Who would think?
Intensity's there.
Who would think at the start of the night that South Florida Pittsburgh would be closer than Syracuse Georgetown? Augustus Gilchrist making it close. He is 12 for the Bulls.
Tonight's college basketball game is presented in high definition. Peterson Event Center, #1 in the land. Pitt Panthers lead South Florida 41-37. Former Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, that's Mike Kelly. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Of course, you know defense. So tell me what's going on here. I mean, Pitt, #1 in the land, defined by defense, but yet South Florida shoots over 50% in the first half.
Well, that was incredible. 57% from the field, 62% from 3. And I think the question always is it good offense or bad defense? I think it was great offense. We saw USF hit some really tough shots.
All right, let's take a look at also some of the highlights and Also, the stat track as well. We'll start, though, with Levance Fields.
Well, the general, and we talked a lot about his leadership ability, and you watch him play. Obviously, he can get in the lane, create for his teammates. Nice job there finding bigs, and then a big shot towards the end of that first half. Thought it might be a momentum builder until USF was able to get a late foul, get to the free throw line. And Augustus Gilchrist, what a half he had. 12 points, hitting shots from the outside, couple threes. His teammates were finding him, and he was hitting the shots. As I said, it's going to take a performance from the entire team to take down #1 Pitt. USF so far sticking with them in the first half.
The stat track, 41-37, #1 Pitt, as we're underway here in the second half. USF will have the first possession of our second half. And again, if you're just joining us, this game was delayed because of snow in the area. And South Florida arrived here way late. And so the initial tip was pushed back. And you have to wonder if Pitt, because of warming up so much and so long out there on the floor, if that has had any kind of effect tonight. Shot clock is down to 2. It's up and good. How about that from the baseline, Dominique Jones?
You know, this is what we just got done talking about. This Pittsburgh team is playing good defense. I mean, they have not had many mental errors. Instead, we've just seen USF play some great offense and just hit very difficult shots.
Jones with 12 for USF. This is Young inside, off the glass, no. Blair had a hand on it. It's off of USF, and it stays with Pitt.
When you take a look, once again, end of shot clock opportunity. The strength by Jones at 6'4", 205. A little bit of a push off, a fadeaway. Can get that fadeaway up and over the defender. And not surprising, Jamie Dixon, he likes to script out his plays. That first possession, trying to get it down low to Sam Young, get him involved in the offense, and I think also get the ball down low, try and get some high percentage looks.
Partner Pitt has been outscoring opponents by 20 in this undefeated run, 15-0 so far this year, as they extend the lead to 43-39. Dixon with the 2.
Well, we saw a great back screen there. As I talked about, Pitt, a great screening team. They really put bodies on people.
This is Verdejo, senior from Puerto Rico. The field goals, nearly 60% for USF, and a strong rebound, and they keep it alive. Nicely done. Ajayi with it. A foul, and heading to the line to shoot 2, I believe it'll be Jones. So a look at the ESPN stat sheet. South Florida, Gilchrist, Howard, Jones, the scoring, and then you take a look for Pitt. Biggs got off to a real quick start along with Young and Fields. I wonder right now if Jones is hurt a little bit.
He was kind of wincing after he went in the lane.
Pretty good free throw shooter, nearly 75%. And watching him go down the floor, he seems to be all right.
You have to knock down your free throws if you want to take down #1 on the road.
For the most part, they've been able to do it. Nice feed, Blair. The easy 2 on a great look from Fields.
No surprise, Pitt trying to get the ball down low, establish their strength in the post.
6-point lead. That's the 8th assist for Fields on the night.
Boy, Dominique Jones working very hard. Nice job by Dixon to stay with him.
Howard matched up with Blair, under 15 on the shot clock. Trying to feed it inside. They overshoot the senior. Fields pushing to the corner. Open for 3. That's no good. Biggs with the left hand. Always crucial, first 5 minutes of each half, but certainly if you're USF on the road against #1 Pitt, how do you handle the first 5 minutes?
Well, you've got to come out, I think, high percentage shots. We've seen Pitt do that, get the ball down low. It's important for USF to get some good looks, maybe get to the free throw line, as we saw Dominique Jones drive. Once again, he picks up a foul. Well, here's Pitt, as I talked about, establishing the low post presence. Blair, he's only 6'7". He's not the biggest guy in the world, but at 265, he can certainly move people around, create space. He's a very good post-up player. And then how about Tyrell Biggs? Nice first half and continues so far here in the second.
Second chance points. Pitt was 16 tonight. As you talked about in our open, that would be a big difference in this game as Jones is fouled.
That's 3 drives by Jones and 3 fouls on Pitt. Every time he has driven into the lane, he's gotten fouled.
That's against Sam Young. And Mike, that is his 3rd. So checking in, Gilbert Brown, the sophomore from Pennsylvania. This is huge, as Young now will have to have a seat for a while.
Certainly changes the way they're going to play on offense. Fields always has the ball in his hands, but Young, one of those players that a defense always has to be aware of.
Gilchrist just walks right into the shot and hits a little 15-footer.
Well, that one a little bit easier than normal, coming off of that inbounds play. A little breakdown, mental lapse.
Stan Heath, I asked him about facing number 1. He said, quote, "Let's embrace it. Let's be part of history. Win or lose. This is something you don't forget."
Absolutely. Here's a 3-2 zone out of USF. Important now for them to not only get a stop and make Pitt shoot over the top, but then get on the defensive glass.
He also said, "Why can't we be BC?" referring to their upset win over North Carolina, who, by the way, has lost twice now.
0-2. People thought they were going to go undefeated this year.
I was one of them.
Well, they got a great team. They'll be just fine.
Here's Jones, head of the key. Yes!
Wow.
Dominique Jones.
So what it's going to take some guys to get hot. It was Gilchrist in that first half, and Jones can be that guy in the second.
Biggs from the free throw line, too strong. Blair inside. May have been fouled. No call. The fans wanted it. They don't get it. Now Jones the other way. And this will be a jump ball that's back to Pitt. Well, they're letting them play underneath. South Florida trying to pull off a huge upset inside the Big East. Only down by 3 on the road at number 1 Pitt.
Thursday at 4, the Cliff Key National Duels, only on ESPNU.
Hi, Billy Mays here for Mighty Putty. The easy way to fix, fill and seal virtually anything fast and make it last. Mighty Putty is not a glue, but a super-powered epoxy that you can mold to any shape and apply directly to most any surface for an everlasting bond. Ordinary epoxies are a mixing mess. With Mighty Putty, you just cut like dough, simply need to activate, apply, and let dry. It has the muscle to support up to 350 pounds. Rebuild the damaged tool to work like new, or make car repairs and save money. Drills, bolts, and screws can ruin your projects. With Mighty Putty, you just cut, activate, and apply. Here's something you can't do with glue. Mighty Putty seals leaks instantly. Use it on pipes and faucets for a permanent seal. As you need, it activates, turning from green to white to show it's ready to hold on tight. It has the strength to pull this fully loaded 80,000-pound tractor trailer. Now that's the power of Mighty Putty. Whether it's tile to wood, metal to glass, any job, big or small, Mighty Putty repairs them all. Fill cracks in ceilings, walls, and floors. Mold it to furniture, sand and paint for a seamless repair. And it's ideal for all your crafting projects. There's nothing you can't do with Mighty Putty. Call now and we'll send you 2 powerful sticks of Mighty Putty for only $19.99. But through this exclusive TV offer, we'll double it and send you 2 more sticks free. Mighty Putty will pay for itself the very first time. But I'm not done yet. Call right now and I'll triple the offer and send you 6 sticks of Mighty Putty for the same low price of $19.99. Order now.
Call 1-800-673-1547 to order Mighty Putty and receive triple the offer. That's 6 sticks of Mighty Putty for $19.99. Call 1-800-673-1547 now.
47-44, Pitt leading South Florida. Dave Wannstedt taking this in after losing LaShawn McCoy today. That was the big news surrounding this program, the athletic program, and you see the Panther running back, he declares for the NFL draft. And also big news in college football, the fact that, as you heard on our Sports Center, that Sam Bradford has decided to go back to Oklahoma. Todd McShay had him at number 1 overall. How about that?
That's amazing. What an interesting decision to have to make.
Woo. Well, you go to 0-16, or do you want to go back and compete for a national championship?
So you think that's what he was thinking, huh?
I do. Home court success at the Pete. And how about that? Louisville, the only team with 2 wins here at the Pete. Panthers basically unbeatable here at home.
And how do they do it? It's all about defense and rebounding. Those two things carry this team. They're a great offensive team, but to have longevity and continued success, you have to always bring the defense and rebounding. And right now, USF just beating that Pitt defense, making tough shots.
Different look, too, off the timeout, as Stan Heath went to his zone that time.
Heath has gone back and forth, as we've talked about. When they go zone, the big concern is defensive rebounding.
Second personal foul on Williams. This place holds 12,508 to sell out every game since it opened. Shooters touch that time for Fields.
Well, I tell you what, if Fields can establish that three-point shot, that is going to be the thing that I think takes him to the next level. He already can take care of the basketball, set up his teammates, and he's not a bad outside shooter, but the more consistent he can be, the tougher he becomes to defend.
Here's Jones. So we're just about 5 minutes in now. Gilchrist. Maybe the shot you're probably not looking for there is Gilchrist may have forced it there from the head of the key, and hitting the floor was DeJuan Blair, the big body at 6'7". I asked head coach Jamie Dixon about Blair, and he said the one thing we've asked him to do is work on his outlet passing, which I found to be interesting, because you look at rebounding, scoring, you might look at something like that, but overlooked a lot of times. How about outlet passing? He said Wes Unseld, one of the best. Do you know who Wes Unseld is? No. Well, you will. We're going to show you some film.
Well, a lot of people compared Kevin Love last year to Wes Unseld. How about that?
Good feed that time.
And Jones grabbed the rim or the net. I've seen hang time, but he had to be aided by something. He was up there and just stuck for a while. Take a look at this.
So Jones picks up his second. It's a little rubber that's underneath the backboard, that cushion. Of course, you probably did that a bunch, didn't you, partner? Your hops.
Anything to get closer to the rim. I'd get on a ladder if I had to.
It's Mike Kelly, the former Wisconsin star. I'm Dan McLaughlin. That's Biggs. Hits the two just inside the arc.
What a great stroke. You have to love a big guy that can step out, force the defense to react, and that was just a pure shot.
16 points for Biggs. Howard with it, guarded by Fields. 10 on the shot clock. Verdejo in and out, no good. Blair rips down the rebound for Pitt.
Starting to get the sense this game might be slipping away from USF.
Stepping through Fields. Wanamaker, got it.
Well, I'm not surprised if Stan Heath takes the timeout. Pitt has put together back-to-back stops on the defensive end, and then they are hitting their shots on the offensive end.
Their biggest lead of the night for number one in the land. 55-44. The Big East on ESPNU.
Are you ready for the max? Are you ready for the max?
We're always ready for the max. Yes! I'm ready for the max.
Take your car to the max with quality Conoco gasoline. It's specially formulated to help clean fuel injectors in just 5 tanks to help reduce emissions and maximize mileage.
Are you ready for the max?
Are you ready for the max?
Help maximize your mileage with Conoco. Take it to the max.
Special agent, they're trying to stop you from saving time and money on auto insurance. Here's the play.
Quote by print. Got it, Coach.
When there's only seconds on the clock, Esurance gives you a fast break.
From all the hassle of buying auto insurance, you don't have to jump through hoops.
At Esurance, instant comparison quotes let you screen prices yourself.
So you can net yourself some savings.
It's a slam dunk. Save time and money on auto insurance. Visit Esurance.com today.
Is this what your phone bill feels like to you? Stop paying so much. Save money with Vonage at the low price of $24.99 a month. Vonage works by connecting your high-speed internet with your phone. Get unlimited calls across the U.S., plus 25 amazing features. Just $24.99 a month. Call 877-4VONAGE and get your first month free.
13:42 to play, number one in the land. The Pitt Panthers have opened up their biggest lead of the night, 55-44. What have you seen, Mike, here in the second half?
Well, you know, it's always easy to see the shooter make the open shot, the ball goes through the hoop, and the crowd cheers. But you've got to take a look a little bit deeper as to how those shots are set up. You watch DeJuan Blair here, a little double screen. You see him pick off Biggs' man, and not only the shot, but Blair finishes right by the basket. If Biggs misses that shot, Blair's in perfect offensive rebounding position. That's why he leads the country in offensive rebounds.
Now on the other side, if you're South Florida, Stan Heath, how do you get back in this game?
Well, you've got to, first off, start knocking out some shots. I mean, that's why they stayed in this game in the first half. They just shot the lights out, and then they've got to get some stops. We've seen Pitt now, I think their last 3 possessions in a row, starting with Fields' 3 from the corner. They are getting on a roll, and USF has to find a way to disrupt them in their offensive rhythm.
13:42 to play.
Easier
Jones.
said than done, though, I'll say that.
Oh, yeah. Trying to get it to Jones. Good job to keep it alive on this offensive possession. Blair, the quick hands. Still bouncing around, and Jones has it.
Blair is incredible. One of the top steals man in the conference.
Good look underneath. Gilchrist got it. They needed that.
Well, Gilchrist is who they went to in the first half. He had his 12 points. I really like what he's doing offensively, but this possession was almost all about DeJuan Blair defensively. Here's a shot by Gilchrist, but after Blair nearly picks up 2 steals, he almost gets a block, kind of looking like LeBron James chasing down. Saw LeBron do that again last night, and Blair certainly can rise up. He's got great vision for a big man. I mean, to be his size and be one of the top steals leaders in your conference really says something about his court vision, his awareness. Certainly great anticipation on the defensive end.
Brown picks it up. Young back on the floor with 3 fouls for Pitt. Gilchrist with 16 for USF.
USF stays zone.
Brown, little ball fake on the baseline, falling down, and then a foul. Augustus Gilchrist whistle for the foul.
Now look at Pittsburgh, 67% in the second half. Really great shooting by both teams. I mean, none of those numbers you're going to be upset with as a coach. I think defensively is where you obviously want to get a little bit better. Watching Pittsburgh attack this zone, they've got to find a way to get in the middle. There it is right there.
Blair couldn't finish. Gilchrist the rebound. Bodies tied up underneath. That was Young.
You know, Dan, we saw the replay where Biggs got the outside shot. That was the same play, and that time it was a little bit of a roll to the basket by Blair. Instead of the shot from the outside, they found him crashing to the basket.
Here's Gilchrist and his 16 points. Back to Howard, 10 on the shot clock. Little ball fake. And then shot an air ball as Blair picked it up. They want to run Fields. Nice. Gilbert Brown on the receiving end of that pass from Fields.
It is such a weapon to have a guy like Levance Fields out there with his great feel for the game. Never in doubt in terms of handling the ball and getting the ball taken from him. And he finds his teammates, puts them in a good position to score.
Mike, he sees the floor as well as anybody.
I think he's one of the top 5 point guards in the country.
Jones inside, contact, no foul. Blair outlets to Fields. Nice catch behind his back. Step back and almost.
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 You got to give him some leeway. Hit the 3 from the corner. He's feeling it right now. But as I said, I do think he's one of the top 5 point guards in the country. I would throw Stephen Curry in that mix and Darren Collison. And a lot of people around the Big East would say Johnny Flynn. But I think what Levance Fields brings as an X factor is incredible.
Jones fouled with 11:36 as we step aside.
Your home for college sports 24/7 is ESPNU. The passion.
Absolutely unbelievable.
The anticipation.
Can he do it? Can he do it?
The excitement.
Can you believe it?
Every season, every reason to watch, all year long. Tomorrow night, Matt Janning and the Huskies take on the Fighting Blue Hens in Colonial action. Then it's a Tennessee showdown as high-scoring Lester Hudson and the Skyhawks face Tennessee Tech.
Now, in Huge Bicep.
It's getting so difficult to find an educated, successful man.
I never thought I could meet the girl of my dreams online.
But then a friend of mine told me about a website that wasn't like all the others. SugarDaddy.com is exactly what you're looking for. And now I couldn't be happier.
And I found the perfect date. Experience it for yourself and meet the most desirable people in online dating.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's money match. Aaron Insurance takes on overpriced auto insurance.
It's no contest with instant comparison quotes. If you find a better deal through Esurance, we'll help you buy the policy right away.
Looks like you should choose Esurance if you're feeling slammed by auto insurance prices.
Quote by print is quite the 3-count.
Now that's what I call a save.
Go over to esurance.com and compare auto insurance prices today.
I'm Mo Galindo. This is your Sports Center U update. Duke trying to continue its dominance over Georgia Tech. John Shire helping the cause, putting the Blue Devils up by 10. Georgia Tech already with a victory on this day, landing a commitment from Derek Favors, the number 2 prospect in the nation. Michigan State with its 10th straight win.
All right, Lowell, thank you very much. NCAA news and notes as we take a look. We talked about this earlier. Jody Meeks, 54 points for Kentucky, the school record. Memphis survived last night. North Carolina loses its first 2 ACC games. And I guess out of those 3, that probably is the most shocking for most basketball fans.
Absolutely. I mean, the BC game was the shocking part. Anybody who watched that Wake Forest game had to be just amazed at the quality and the depth of talent those 2 teams threw out there. Jeff Teague was sensational. 34 points, and he was in control that entire game. You know, I talked about the top 5 point guards in the country. I would include Ty Lawson in that group, but on that night, Jeff Teague certainly outplayed him.
Asking Stan Heath about Jones, who hits the second free throw. He said 3 things that he had to do better this year. Make others better with his passing game, a little bit better with the mid-range jumper, and play the point as well as being the off guard. And those 3 things he certainly has improved upon.
No, he's done a great job. He's really improved his game, and that's not easy to do. I mean, those are things that are hard to really add to your game, but he's done it.
There he is again, Sam Young. 60-47 Pitt. If you're just joining us, this game got started late because of the snow here in Pittsburgh, South Florida. Left their team hotel at 5:15, and actually for the last 3-4 blocks had to get a police escort to get here. They had 30 minutes once they hit the floor to warm up.
Great trap on the ball screen.
And a timeout taken with 11 on the shot clock by USF.
Boy, Pitt will do a couple different things off a ball screen. Sometimes they will hedge and just show where the big man will come out, but not trap. That time, though, they sprung a trap.
Levance Fields tonight, a difference maker. In particular with his passes, no turnovers tonight. You love to see that from the man that handles the basketball.
Well, that's certainly something that he's become accustomed to, just taking care of the basketball. They call him the general, and I think he's got a Joe Montana quality about him. I don't think everything he brings to the floor can be quantified on the stat sheet. He's the type of guy that is a true winner. He gets the ball to his teammates just like that. Now, that's going to go down as an assist, but he's the type of point guard that will not pass it to you unless you're in a good position. He doesn't put his teammates in a bad spot on the floor, and that is something that is easier said than done.
1 shy from his career high of 12 assists, 11 on the night, 9 points, 3 3-pointers, 11 assists for Levance Fields. 60-47, Pitt on top. Shot clock down to 5. Jones, 1 on the clock. They can't get it away. Back to Pitt for Up to the Minute News. For everything that is college sports, log on to ESPNU.com. If you don't have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com. Type in your zip code at the top of the page or call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Log on to ESPNU.com today.
Dan, you start to see the ball pressure from Pitt get to USF. That possession there going down to the end of the shot clock and not even coming up with a shot.
Dixon into the ball game now for Pitt. Here he is off a pick and with the basketball. Trying to feed it inside, and it's out of bounds. Knocked out by Chris Howard. 14 on the shot clock.
It's been a nice matchup. One-on-one, you've got Sam Young and Dominique Jones going up against each other. Jones is a little bit of a smaller guard, but Young, kind of a guard forward. He certainly can play the 4. He's rounded out his game to be able to play the 3, and there's some talent there in that matchup. Jones doing a nice job against Sam Young whenever he's on him.
Fields back in. He has the basketball. 10 on the shot clock. Now to Brown. Biggs spinning, and a foul away from the basketball. Charge to Espinoza of USF. 10:07 to go. Undoubtedly, Mike, real important stretch of basketball here if you're the Bulls to stay in this game.
Absolutely. I mean, 13 points on the road against this Pitt team, as well as they have shot in the second half. It's going to be hard to come back. They have got to get some stops.
Here's Sam Young.
Watch the screens Pitt sets on offense. They run a lot of set plays and are very good screeners, very physical screeners.
Here's Fields, has 1,000 points, over 1,000 in his career. Dixon. The lefty struggling, dribbling with the right that time.
Jones doing a great job.
Fields with the left hand, and they get it blocked.
Oh, wow. Fortunate stoppage of play. USF had Dominique Jones on a breakaway.
Stan Heath didn't like that one bit.
Fortunate for Pitt, I should say.
Take a look at the block here.
How about that left-handed, one-handed pass from Levance Fields? He might be one of the most ambidextrous passers you'll see in college basketball. He can dish it out left to right-handed. Very strong with the ball.
The violation of the shot clock, only the 6th turnover charged to Pitt here at home tonight. Trying to draw contact that time was Howard. If he went straight up, he probably had an easy 2. Fields. Crossover, couldn't get it. Front court, Dominique Jones, and he's fouled. Will be intentional. No, it will not. A foul that time by Wanamaker.
I'll tell you what, that was a hard foul, but credit Wanamaker for kind of catching Jones on the way down. For a second there, I thought that might get ugly. Here's the steal. Fields just getting a little bit too deep. His first turnover of the night. He takes great care of the basketball. Poor decision there. And here's the hard foul at the end.
So a stoppage in play. Jones a chance to cut into the lead. 17 for Dominique Jones tonight.
It's really a neat story last year. Dominique Jones coming to this USF team, playing with Kentrell Gransberry, leading the team in scoring. And a lot of highly touted recruits coming into this conference last year, and Dominique Jones was not one of them, except he was the one at the end of the year that had perhaps the best year of any freshman.
Nice job. And a finish underneath by Sam Young. Timeout taken by Jamie Dixon and Pitt after the flush. Lead back up to 14.
Well, this is Pittsburgh just spreading USF out, getting in the open court. As I mentioned, Fields able to make the easy pass, and Sam Young knows how to finish. Great vision, great ball sharing. Nice job by Wanamaker. And when you get spread out against Pitt, they're going to get an easy shot.
College basketball continues tonight on ESPNU. They'll tip that game at 9:10 Eastern Time. Colorado and Missouri from Mizzou Arena in Columbia. And again, they'll push back that tip to 9:10 because of our delay here tonight. Missouri lost a heartbreaker to Nebraska over the weekend. Leo Lyons is out, suspended indefinitely. He averages 15 a game. The Buffaloes, Big 12 opener, and Corey Higgins. How about that? 45 straight free throws made for the Buffaloes.
Pretty good. We got two teams here. Maybe Corey Higgins should give some free throw shooting lessons too.
So they'll tip that again at 9:10 Eastern here on ESPNU as they push that back. Jones went up and was fouled.
I love the play. Nice call by Stan Heath. Coming out of that timeout, Dominique Jones has been the one player in this second half when he's aggressive getting into the lane. He hasn't finished a lot, but he's gotten to the free throw line a ton. That time out of the timeout, Stan Heath sends all 4 players to the left side and just clears it out for Jones.
Dominique coming up 22 against DePaul in that win. 7 of 14 from the floor. And he leads USF in scoring tonight. 18. Hits them both. 19 on the night. USF just hanging around. Down by 12 against #1 Pitt.
Limau out there on the ball. Stan Heath's going to have his guys extend the pressure a bit, try and just shake things up.
And a foul and a hold. Espinoza whistled for that. Stops play. 8:26 to go.
Well, I believe that's the second foul on Espinoza, where he was just getting a little too handsy on his way into the lane.
And that's his third total. Fresh 35 for Pitt. Wasting no time. The three from the head of the key by Young and the miss. Jamie Dixon did not like that.
Well, it always starts with a stop. USF got one there. Now they've got to be able to convert on the offensive end.
Had a chance to take time off the clock. Rush that three maybe. Howard for three. Yes.
There you go.
And a key now back to single digits.
Absolutely. It's amazing how a game can turn on just small things. And who knows if this game turned right there. But USF now scoring on back-to-back possessions and getting a stop in between.
Another key. Both teams are the 1-1.
Nice
Wanamaker from Blair. He was saying no shot. 7:41 to go. #1 in the land on display tonight here on ESPNU.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends, with a little help from my friends.
Real value from your friends at Hampton.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out here today. After having a long discussion with friends and family, I've decided to follow my first love.
Nothing transforms any room of the house quite like a Fathead.
Yeah!
Over 500 to choose from. College, NFL, superheroes, and more. Go to fathead.com now.
Dougie.
Dude, the game.
Nah, I'm registering domain names at GoDaddy.com.
Dude.
Registering domains at GoDaddy is like, it's like...
sweet love?
Yes.
Right, like your first kiss?
Yup.
Like rose petals on satin sheets?
Mm-hmm. There.
Oh, okay.
Domain names for less than $1 a month.
Keith Ramsey is about to make his first career start tonight for the Missouri Tigers. Mizzou about to take on Colorado. Tip time, 9:10 Eastern time. We'll get you out to Columbia after the game in Pittsburgh.
Mizzou off to their best start since 1994-95 season, coming up at 9:10. Good one here tonight, #1 in the land. Pittsburgh leading South Florida 62-53 with 7:41 to play. Jamie Dixon with a win tonight would move into third place by himself all-time on the wins list in Panther history. What a job he has done.
How about this, Dan? 15-0 for the third time in the last 6 seasons under Jamie Dixon.
His first year, they started 18-0. Wanamaker hits the free throw. Again, it's worth repeating, as a team, they shoot 63% from the free throw line, and you wonder if that would be, something down the stretch in closer games that comes back to haunt them this year.
Certainly is not going to help you.
South Florida and Pitt. Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Along with Mike Kelly, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Mike, former Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year at Wisconsin. Blair rips the rebound.
One and done for USF. When they do miss, it'd be nice if they could stay active on the offensive glass, try to get some second chance points.
Clemson, Wake Forest, Pitt, the 3 teams that are undefeated right now in college basketball.
Once again, Levance Fields creating for his teammates, putting them in positions to score for easy buckets. Verdejo's been quiet all game.
Espinoza back to Jones. Tough shot. Too strong. Fields a rebound for Pitt. Just not as crisp. USF offensively here in the second half. Shot nearly 60% in the first half. Blair muscling his way towards the goal and draws contact and a foul.
Draws contact. That's a good way to put it. DeJuan Blair, so big down low, and I love how he plays with a smile on his face all the time. You know, when you play against a guy that is that strong, I remember going up against Tractor Trailer, kind of a similar type player, an undersized big man, but certainly had the size and the strength to get the ball up, and you just did everything you could to push him out, and in the process you end up picking up a lot of fouls and sending him to the line.
Last game was a win for Pitt over St. John's. DeJuan Blair with his 10th double-double of the season in that game. Think about this, he's only a sophomore, already with 24 double-doubles in his career.
That's incredible. I think the next step for DeJuan Blair is being able to step out. You talked about the outlet passes, and Jamie Dixon sees that as an area where he can improve, a la Kevin Love and Wes Unseld. But I think if he can step out, face up, hit that 15-footer, 18-footer at 6'7", he's going to have some matchup problems for guys. If they want to get a big man on him to defend him down low, he can pull him outside. And if then they want to defend him outside because he can hit that shot, he can certainly post up that type of smaller defender.
I'd like to see Blair match up with Tyler Hansbrough.
Wouldn't that be something?
See those two big bodies go at it.
There might be some blood in about 5 minutes. The way those guys play, so physical. I'd pay to see that.
Blair has a wingspan, they say, of about 7'2". That helps too when you're rebounding.
6'7" with a 7'2" or 7'3" wingspan. Strong hands.
Big body that's dropped 20 pounds. Off the inbound, Gilchrist.
Some of USF's best shots have come off those inbound plays. Gilchrist with the second one in the second half where he just comes off in a quick hitter.
It's interesting. DeJuan Blair, who grew up very close to here. After he committed to Pitt, he said that he knew the campus better than the coaching staff.
600 yards away.
Yep.
Coaches were on him from the start. Neat to see a player stay home. I really like that. You know, he can go home, see his family. His family can see him play.
Young, no good. Got it back. Blair, the putback. Timeout taken by Jamie Dixon. Blair, 14 rebounds, 11 points tonight, and now his 11th double-double of the season.
You know, Dan, it's tough enough to defend this Pitt team on one possession. You try to have all 5 guys stay in front, play great team defense, communicate, and then once a shot goes up and they start getting offensive rebounds and 1 and 2, 3 different looks on a certain possession, they become impossible to stop.
DeJuan Blair, favorite player is Shaq, models his game, he says, after Charles Barkley.
Shakovich, I hear is Shaq's new nickname because all guys with itch at the end of their names can score. But here's DeJuan Blair. He certainly knows how to score down low, a great physical presence, very strong player. I love the way he boxes out, great space for himself, it makes it easy for the guard on the outside to enter the ball into the post because he gets low, gives you a hand to throw the ball to, and he certainly can corral anything you send near his way.
So 11 points. There you see the rebounds. And a lead of 69-55 for Blair in Pittsburgh. 5:34 to go. Times will be better for USF. You know, their first year of basketball was the 71-72 season. Every other school has had at least 49 seasons or more of hoops inside the Big East. Now think about that. And 2005-06 was their first year in the league. They were at the Sun Belt, then the Metro, Conference USA, now the Big East. And it is tough. That's the understatement of the night, to compete in this conference. It is awesome.
What do you think about that? Every other school in this big conference has had a basketball program another 49 years, at least another 49 years more than USF.
This is Howard off his head and out of bounds. We talked about the recruiting for Jamie Dixon. One of the new faces next year for Stan Heath. Pretty familiar face in the NBA ranks. Joe Dumars, his son out of Detroit, will be part of the Bulls program next year.
We talked to Jeff Worth about him as a player. He said not necessarily the most athletic player, but he can really stroke it from outside. That will open up some things for Dominique Jones. Anything to take the pressure off of Jones, I think, allow him to really focus on his scoring because he is such a great scorer.
Reminder coming up 9-10, Colorado and Mizzou. Big 12 showdown there.
You know, the other guy USF has coming in is Anthony Crater from Ohio State. He left Ohio State middle of the season. He will be eligible to play for USF next year, about midway through the season.
Fields the crossover, left hand, and he finished.
There you go. I tell you what, he is fun to watch, isn't he? I mean, you see him out there, he's always under control.
But think about that, 2 surgeries, his left foot. He's trying to drop a little weight, and he had all that time to recover, and because of that, he put on some weight. And so it's a work in progress, even with a guy like Levance Fields this season.
Aren't we all trying to lose some weight? Somebody the everyday fan can associate with, Levance Fields. He's been injured, as Jamie Dixon said, for about 11 months. He hasn't been at full speed, and credit Levance Fields, he never talks about that. He never says as an excuse that he's not 100%. If you ask him, he'll say, no, I'm fine, I'm 100%. But Jamie Dixon knows he's still working his way back.
Jones hits the free throw, and there's a look at the tape job for Fields. 11 points, 11 assists here tonight. So you have seen UConn, you've seen Georgetown, you've seen Pitt, you know, some of the bigger teams in the Big East. How good is this Pitt team?
Well, I think, you know, the first half we saw them play good defense, but it was somewhat masked by the fact that USF shot the ball so well. I think this Pitt team is as good as any in the country. Certainly North Carolina's got a lot of talent. I don't care if they're 0-2 in the ACC play. They've got a ton of talent. UConn's got a ton of talent, but I like what I see. The great defense, the great offensive rebounding, and then something we talked about a lot tonight. They're a great offensive team, too. Nobody wants to talk about that because they're a Pittsburgh team, but this is a great offensive team.
DeJuan Blair inside. Georgetown up by 15 against Syracuse tonight. And that was the win for Pitt, put them at the #1 ranking in the nation. First time in school history.
What an up-and-down season for Georgetown. It was just a week ago, people were saying Georgetown was struggling. Their 1-2 start, they beat UConn on the road.
Jones around Brown, inside off the glass. The timeout taken by USF. The 32nd timeout with 3:09 to go. Again, a reminder, Missouri and Colorado coming up on ESPNU.
It's fun to watch Levance Fields. I've said many times, one of the best point guards in the country, and what he does and what he brings to the court goes far beyond his stats. You look at that, 67-12 when he starts, 8-6 when he's hurt. Now, they were 8-4 in the games he didn't play at all, but there were 2 more losses when he came back, did not start, was not 100%. So Jamie Dixon talks about they were 8-6 when he was hurt. And that's why I say he's just a winner. You look at his assist-to-turnover ratios, all that stuff is great, but there's something about him that is just hard to quantify. Certain guys know how to lead teams, and I bring up Joe Montana. I think Brett Favre in his days with the Packers is another one of those guys that was just a great leader, and the guys rallied around him. And Levance Fields is another one of those guys.
11 points, 12 assists, and only 1 turnover tonight for Fields. He is second in the country in assist-to-turnover ratio. This says an awful lot.
This Pitt team in points per possession scores 1.19 points per possession, which is the best in the Big East in conference play. And it's because a guy like Levance Fields, they average under 12 turnovers a game, and guys like Sam Young and DeJuan Blair and Tyrell Biggs getting on the offensive glass.
Knocked out of bounds, and we step aside with 2:42 to play on ESPNU.
Want to keep warm when you're feeling chilled, but you don't want to raise your heating bill. Blankets are okay, but they can slip and slide. And when you need to reach for something, your hands are trapped inside. Now, there's the Snuggie, the blanket that has sleeves. The Snuggie keeps you totally warm and gives you the freedom to use your hands. So now, you can work the remote or read a book in total warmth and comfort. use your laptop without being cold, or enjoy a snack while staying snugly warm. Snuggie is made of ultra-soft, thick, luxurious fleece with oversized sleeves, so you can move your arms and use your hands and still be wrapped in warmth. Super large, one size fits all, so you can stay warm from head to toe. No more cold feet. And with Snuggie, you can get up and still stay warm. Perfect for men, women, and children, too. The ultra-soft fleece keeps you totally warm, and the sleeves keep your hands free. So you can snuggle your baby in your arms or keep your pet close at hand. Perfect for chilly outdoor evenings, staying cozy and warm at sporting events. And it's ideal for those drafty dorm rooms. The Snuggie is machine washable, so you'll get years of warmth and comfort. Now you can do what you need to and stay totally warm with the Snuggie. Similar products sell for up to $60, but call now and you'll get the ultra-soft, ultra-warm Snuggie for only $19.95. Available in royal blue, sage green, and burgundy. As an added bonus, you'll also receive our compact press and open book light. Just press, and the book light instantly opens and turns on for extra light where you need it. A $15 value free. But call right now and we'll give you a second Snuggie and book light free. Just pay processing and handling. That's 2 Snuggies and 2 book lights, all for only $19.95.
To order, call 1-800-827-9302. That's 1-800-827-9302. Remember, call now and get an additional Snuggie and book light free. Just pay processing and handling. Call 1-800-827-9302.
This is Lowell Galindo in the Sports Center U studio. Colorado and Missouri just underway in Columbia. The Tigers with an early 2-zip lead. You will see this game immediately following the conclusion of Pittsburgh in South Florida.
Lowell, thank you. 73-58, number 1 in the country. Pittsburgh rolling now with 2:42 to play. DeJuan Blair, huge game tonight. 18 rebounds, 13 points for the 5 starters for Pitt in double figures. Espinoza whistle for the foul, and I believe that might be number 5 on him. That's his 4th.
Stan Heath had Verdejo and Gilchrist on the bench for that defensive possession. He's going to put them back into the game because of what they bring on the offensive end.
Mike Kelly is here, the outstanding defensive player in Wisconsin. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Fields at the line. 79% free throw shooter. Couldn't get it to fall. Knocked out of bounds by Blair. Back to USF. So the Panthers look to go to 16-0 and remain undefeated. Stay at number 1.
Got to be impressed with the way they played in the second half. The first half story was USF and their hot shooting. The second half, this has been Pittsburgh. Great efficiency on the offensive end, getting the shots they want, and then playing some better defense, and USF cooling off a bit as well.
Gilchrist inside. Good ball game. Augustus Gilchrist, only a freshman too, Mike.
He's a nice looking player.
20 points on the night for the freshman.
And it's got 20 points for Gilchrist, 22 for Jones, and Chris Howard, who is a pass first point guard, has 13, but it's been really those 3 guys. For Pitt, you've got 4 different players. Tyrell Biggs leading the way with 16. Sam Young 14, DeJuan Blair 13, and Fields with 11, or with 13, I should say.
Here's Fields. 7 on the shot clock. Fields has to hurry up. Down to 2, and it was blocked. Shot clock violation. Back to USF. A reminder, Colorado and Mizzou in the Big 12 coming up immediately following our ball game here. Pitt and South Florida meeting for the 5th time in their series history. Series tied at 2-2, although the Panthers have won the last 2 games. Well, Pittsburgh, number 1 in the country, predicted, though, to finish 3rd in their conference. Think about that.
Well, I think at the beginning of the season, people thought Louisville would start a little bit faster. I think they'll finish very strong, but they did not start out very strong. They're still coming around, number 20 in the country.
Gilchrist again, and that's a 2. Full timeout taken by USF. And now South Florida is out of timeouts. trailing 73-62 with 1:27 to go.
I think Stan Heath trying to get a bucket, taking his last time out so they can set up their defense.
Upcoming key games. In the Big East, Notre Dame and Syracuse. Syracuse last check down by 15 to Georgetown. Georgetown at Duke. Pitt at Louisville. That'll be a great game. And then Marquette and Providence.
What a great game Georgetown at Duke is going to be. And whenever I talk about Duke, or I think of Duke and the way they play, it's the great ball pressure. I think they're very good at extending their defense, making it difficult to play on the perimeter. In Georgetown, so good at taking care of the basketball. So the question is, what is going to win out in that game? I think if Georgetown can take care of the basketball, move it around in that great offensive system that they run, they will take advantage of the extra pressure Duke gives, get some backdoor cuts and easy lanes to the basket. If they don't handle the pressure, though, certainly Duke will get out and run, and they can be tough to stop.
See on that replay, clearly the right foot was on the line, so they checked. Make sure it wasn't a three. It was only a two. Gilchrist with 22 on the night. 73-62.
See where USF brings a trap. Here it comes.
Here's Young. Not an easy win tonight for Pitt, was it?
Absolutely not. And every team who has the #1 label talks about that X on their jersey. Once you're #1, Pitt learning to play with that.
Here's Brown. Fields. Back to Brown. Got it. That's a two inside the arc. 55 seconds to play.
Well, you've got to credit Pitt. This was a game delayed by the weather. They were out here for about an hour. Came out at about 6:20 Eastern. Game didn't tip till 7:21 Eastern. These guys have not shown any ill effects, though.
Timeout taken by Pitt with 35.5 seconds to go.
Gilbert Brown got himself in a tough spot just over half court. Brandon Knight talking to him right now. Of course, Brandon Knight never put himself in a hard spot.
No, pretty good player.
He knew how to take care of the basketball. Woo. That's something that is learned hopefully by your point guards, is never pick up your ball in bad positions. And Brandon Knight and Levance Fields, guys that never do that.
So up next, 3 days from tonight at Louisville, the night ball game. And that'll be what's up next for Pitt. Tough test. Rick Pitino, Louisville Cardinals. Colorado and Mizzou coming up. Mizzou is up 11-7 in that ball game in Columbia.
Going to be some good matchups in that Louisville game. Samardo Samuels down low. Terrence Williams, Earl Clark. I'll tell you what, if their guards really get it on track, Jerry Smith and Edgar Sosa, I think Andre McGee was the game changer against Notre Dame. His ball pressure totally disrupted everything Notre Dame was trying to do at the end of regulation, and then in overtime, Louisville just took over.
Brown gets the rebound, and this will do it. The Pitt Panthers undefeated, 16-0. Final score, 75-62. For Mike Kelly and our entire crew, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Coming up next, Colorado and Mizzou. Let's join Doug Bell and John Sunbold from Mizzou Arena.